Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Dr. Shabir, there are some people who are unable to fast in Ramadan for a variety of reasons. What advice do you have for them? They may be feeling very disappointed, frustrated, as if they cannot reap the benefits of the month of Ramadan for themselves.
So, good news that, God in His mercy and compassion and His all-comprehensive knowledge has already shown cognizance of the fact that some people will not be able to fast during the month of Ramadan, or it will not be most suitable for them to fast during that time. In the second chapter of the Quran, in the 183rd verse, the obligation for fasting is mentioned, kutiba alaykum as-siyam. And then the very next verse, 184, says, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ. Whoever is ill or on a journey should fast an equal number of other days, which means that if you're traveling during the month of Ramadan, you're on a journey, or you're sick during the month of Ramadan, you don't fast at the time when you're sick, but you will fast, or when you're traveling, but you will fast an equal number of other days after the month is over and when you are not traveling. Now, traveling is a special case. I'll return to that a little bit, but in a moment if we have time. But think about the person who is sick. So the person who is sick, naturally, if you fast, you might aggravate your illness. And nowadays, we're familiar with so many different illnesses that maybe people did not recognize and name in the past. And people might not have really even know. Like if somebody had diabetes, for example, perhaps they didn't know the effects of eating or not eating on their condition, right? But now we know precisely. So doctors can advise us with precise detail as to when to eat, how much to eat, what sorts of things to eat, and so on. So if that's going to conflict with your fasting, then it is better to preserve your health. And if you're going to be better later on, you fast an equal number of other days. And if you are not expecting to get better, then like you have a permanent condition or chronic illness, then you would give the fidya or the compensation for each day of the fast in lieu of fasting. So you see, the religion is very flexible. And thinking about the flexibility, I come back now to the point about traveling, if you don't mind. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Nowadays, traveling has become so easy that somebody may say, you know what, when this was first revealed, people were riding on camelback in the sandy desert and under the burning sun. So, we can understand why they needed to postpone the fast, but we are traveling by airplane and whatever. We have all conveniences like an air-conditioned atmosphere. Why should we not fast during the day? So we can say that if you feel that it's more convenient for you to fast while you're traveling, then fine. Why would it be more convenient? Because for some Muslims, it's easier to get it over and done with during the month of Ramadan when everybody around you, like other fellow Muslims, are fasting, rather than to wait till after Ramadan when the rest of the family would be eating and drinking and you might be the only one fasting. So you want to fast together when everybody else is fasting. So if it's easier for you that way, then do the easier thing. So in other words, you have flexibility from God. God doesn't want you to take on a burden. If it's going to be more difficult for you to fast during the month of Ramadan while you're traveling, well, then don't fast at that time. Fast when it's more convenient. But if you delay it, this might even be better, because if you think about fasting, even though we have all of the modern conveniences, still, fasting would mean that you can only eat at certain times, like to start the fast. And then again, when the fast is ended, you want to eat again. And of course, you need that nourishment for your body. You can't go, night and day without eating continuously. So because you don't know where you're going to be, when you're going to be, and when the food will arrive and so on. With all of these uncertainties, it is better to be freed of anxiety and to not fast while you're traveling. There's another aspect of this, Safiya. You see, there is a concept that when God gives us what is called a rukhsa in Arabic, a permission, this is like a gift from Him. And we should not refuse the gift, but rather we should accept it and relish it. And that is going to be pleasing to God. It's like we give a gift to somebody, we like to see them using it, wearing it, and so on. So when God gives us this permission, like normally there's an obligation, okay, fast, but now He gives you a permission. That permission is like a gift. Okay, you have like a laxity for one day or something like this. So enjoy it. let that be your way of pleasing God, knowing that God is pleased that He has given you this latitude and you are enjoying that for His sake. So whether we're fasting for the sake of God, or not fasting, we're also not fasting for the sake of God.
And of course, there are other things. Ramadan is a blessed month. There are other things that we could be doing to gain God's pleasure and to become closer to God.
Yes, and maybe that's why God has, given us such a flexible system, so that some people will be fasting and some people will not be fasting. Some people might be traveling for good reasons, for, the business, so that the economy continues to thrive. And there's so many benefits that will come about. The one who is not fasting may be of service to the ones who are fasting, and so on. So this flexible system has made it possible for all of this. In a short time, we should also mention, Safia, that the women who are pregnant or breastfeeding, they also have permission to forego the fast. The women who are in their cycles, because obviously this would be, an added burden for them to fast, while they also have perhaps some difficulties to deal with. So it's a very flexible system, and we should make use of that flexibility.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Check it out, everyone, our brand new studio space. It's a work in progress, and it's all thanks to your support and love. This Ramadan, help us raise $100,000. This will help us develop the studio further and buy the equipment we need to develop more programs like this one. Visit our website, muslimmediahub.com.